Wagwan, everybody. I am your Jamaican Queen, Miss Y. You are tuned into How I See It TV. And I guess I'm just going to call this How I See It. Well, no. I have a question. I feel like that's what this is. I have a question because I had some questions, y'all, and they got answered. But before we get into it, please remember to like this video, share the link to my channel if you feel like my content needs some more crowd, subscribe if you have not done so as yet, follow me on Instagram, on Twitter at How I See It, and on TikTok at How I See It TV. Okay, now I don't know if y'all who are in here right now, if y'all heard some reports on YouTube, I think it was last week. I think Chit Chat with QT was the first person I heard with this information. She said she had gotten some DMs from one of her subscribers who had sent a DM to Trish, and Trish basically just like, went off on this fan of the show and told us some things regarding her and Marquez. So I was like, let me put on my my media training hat. Let me put on my media training hat, y'all, and slide into Trish's DMs and ask her my own questions and see if she would respond, right? And y'all, Trish responded. She responded to me last night. And I was pretty shocked. I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty shocked. Right, the alley cat. Yes, a text about that they're just to get a bag. So yes, okay. So y'all know what I'm talking about. Great. So she replied last night, and as I said, I put my media training hat on. So I asked her for a response on the record, which means I am free and clear to share this information. And so I'm going to share it now, for content. Now, let me put my banner up, child, because, well, I need to create a banner for that. Let me create a banner real quick. One second, y'all. Because how do I not have a banner that says, um, all things expressed herein. Gotta put some legalese in there. Herein are alleged and in my opinion. There we go. I'm gonna fix that. I gotta create another one. Okay, but just for now, just for right now, I'm going to um oh, the alley cat says text. What text is not? What? Oh, okay, I get what you're saying. She needs to be concerned about what can be. Oh, well, I didn't ask her about that because, child, I didn't know about that. Ooh, okay, but I'm gonna leave that alone for right now. I'm the alley cat, and we can return in a second. So, anyways, let me put the banner up, and I'm gonna create a new one. Anyways, all things expressed herein are alleged, and in my opinion, okay. I don't know if what Trish told me in these DMs are the truth, and I'm about to report on them, and I'm not about to be sued by nobody because I'm reporting on some DMs. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. All right, so let me read what I sent Trish. Okay, so subject request for comment on recent reports. So I said, I gotta loop it. Blue child. YouTube is like a whole second job. All right. So, subject request for comment on recent reports. So I said, "Hi, Trish. I hope this message finds you well. I'm reaching out regarding some recent reports stating that you communicated with a Love and Marriage Huntsville fan via DMs about an agreement with Marquez to join the Love and Marriage Huntsville cast, which allegedly involved you, Marquez, and Ken sticking to the quote unquote basics and financial gain. But that Marquez did not uphold this agreement. As I'm working on a story for my YouTube channel, I would appreciate your statement on the record to ensure accurate reporting. Your perspective is important, and I want to represent the facts correctly. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to your response. Miss Y from How I See It TV. All right, so that's what I sent her. And when was this? Let me get my other phone. It's just like Miss Melody Child, I got my red phone. Let me see what date did I send this. One second. Let's see what date. Okay, so I sent that text message on Saturday. On Saturday afternoon is when I sent that DM. All right. Okay. So this is Trish's response yesterday evening. Make sure I have the right one. Okay. So Trish says, y'all, no hello. No thank you for reaching out. She's like, you know what? Let me just get to the point. Okay. No formalities, nothing. Let me read it from my other phone. It's sometimes reading from the screen is just. All right. So she says, no, I didn't say we made a fake story or teamed up to be on Love and Marriage Huntsville. Who the heck does that? Me saying, okay, let's get this bag was in response to Marquez saying, quote unquote, I need to get paid and I need to talk to my lawyer. Me saying stick to the basics to him was because I know how emotional he is. But if he started acting cray, I don't know if I can even say that word, acting crazy, then I was going to hear his business out. Sticking to the basics was to keep him safe, not I. I can promise you that. Let me see where it stops in this. Okay, so now I need to put up the next one. Okay. Where am I? Sticking to the basics was to keep him safe, not I. I can promise you that. The basics was we had a rough separation to where he left when his presence was needed the most, and the fact that we still haven't gotten a divorce at that time. And by getting the bag, I told him to mention he likes to do music and film, mention he likes to cook. We was never expecting to get pay. Interesting. But to satisfy his I ain't doing ish, I went along with the BS he was saying. Because when I asked him, would he be on the show, he had just gotten laid off again, allegedly. I was helping him, allegedly. I didn't care about him mentioning Ken and I because, hell, it is what it is. It was the bashing and name calling that had me like, okay, F it. Because We have always been there for him still. Child. Then she ends with, you can't come back 4 years later with tears talking about past ish. No, let's keep it moving how you was moving in the beginning that I kept secret and continue to keep secret. And let's just do better and be better for the kids. Because if I bring up the past, social media would go wild. And that's how she ended her DM response to me. And I I followed up with a question which I'm not going to share right now because she hasn't replied. And that question that I asked was even a little bit more messy than my first one. Um, she saw it, but she didn't respond. So again, I'm gonna put my media training hat back on later, and I'm gonna send another follow up question, just asking her if she would be willing to respond to my last DM. But y'all, that's what Trish had to say about the report that her and Marquez and Ken basically just came on the show to make a bag, and they weren't coming on to, share the real. She said that wasn't the truth. She was fine with Marquez talking about Ken and their relationship and whatever it may be, but she didn't like the name calling. I don't know. Did Marquez um call her names in his Dr. Heavenly interview? I know there's some people who they look at things like if somebody calls them a liar, they feel like that's name calling and stuff like that. So I don't know. So I don't remember him calling her names or calling Ken names in the Dr. Heavenly interview. I don't remember that. Even with their feud on Instagram, I don't remember him calling her any names in that feud, that Instagram feud that they had the other day. He was just reposting like clips from the show, and he was on some woe is me type stuff, but I don't recall him calling her names or calling Ken names. Hmm. But she said it was the bashing. It was the bashing. Well, was he bashing them? Yeah, I'm trying to remember this Dr. Heavenly and Carlos interview because I don't recall him bashing them per se. He was telling his perspective of how the separation happened and how, their marriage deteriorated. He gave his perspective on the whole. He went to Florida and missed his daughter's dance competition. But I don't recall it being like a bash session. I could be wrong, but I don't recall it being a bashing session. But she says that it was the bashing and the name calling that had me like, okay, F it, because and she said it was we, so I believe that the we is her and Ken. They have always been there for him, and they're still there for him, is what she says. So I just want to know if Marquez is just so great at public speaking that he kind of swayed a lot of people when he did that Heavenly and Carlos interview, because before Marquez did his interview, I was like, dang, he sounds like, one second, y'all. Wow. I was like, he sounds like a deadbeat father. you know? And then when he came and did his interview, and Marquez came and did his interview, I felt like it was a compelling interview. I felt like he made a lot of sense um in some of the things that he shared in that interview. And it had me feeling like at the end of the day, none of them are telling the truth. That's how I felt after listening to Marquez's interview. I felt like there was some truth in what Ken was saying, there was some truth in what Tisha was saying, and there's some truth in what Marquez is saying. But everybody is not all telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth, right? But with what she's saying here, it seems like perhaps, and in my opinion, they are supporting Marquez financially. That's what it sounds like. Because she also said that at the time, at the time the show was filming for the new season, he had just gotten laid off again. And he shared in the Dr. Heavenly, I keep saying the Dr. Heavenly interview, Charles, like Carlos was not even there. But he shared in that interview that he was between jobs. Now, for me, being between jobs does not necessarily mean that you're broke. There are a lot of people, they work, they save, they can survive for like, a year or two, a couple of months before they have to find another job. So when people say that, I don't normally think broke, but she said he was laid off around the time that they were filming for this new season. And when he mentioned that he was going to get lawyers involved and blah, 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 she tried to like encourage him to do the show so that he could talk about whatever business ventures he was thinking about at the time. And let's be honest, that's not a bad idea. If somebody is giving you a hard time to film a show and to tell your story and to have your kids on the show, and I'm going to use the word manipulate, and you can kind of manipulate the situation by saying, look, it's a great opportunity. You know that you're not working right now. You know you're down on hard times. So why don't you come on the show and talk about how you're into doing music and films, and you like to cook, and you probably want to open a restaurant. Maybe that will have, the people who are watching the show wanting to check out your music, wanting to check out your restaurant if you open one, or your food truck or whatever. So that wasn't a bad idea on Trish's part, and obviously it worked. Or if we go by what Marquez says, the reason he's on the show is because his son told him that they were trying to paint a picture that Marquez was an absentee father. And he decided he was going to come on the show because he didn't want that story to be told. So you see what I'm saying, y'all? It's like we're getting a little bit of truth over here and we're getting a little bit of truth over there, but nobody's telling us the whole truth. But their situation is very, very messy. It's very messy. Now let me read some of y'all's comments. Okay, I read that. Right. Love Key says Ken was the one doing the bashing. And that's what that's what I felt too. I didn't feel like Marquez's interview with Dr. Heavenly was like him bashing anybody. He was sharing his experience from his perspective, but not bashing. Hi, it's Tati. Taisha J, good morning. She says, I don't recall him bashing her either. She's probably mad that he revealed that Trish cheated on him with Ken. But she says in the DMs that she didn't mind him telling that story. Her problem was the bashing and the name calling. That's what she said specifically to me in the DMs. So I don't know. It's Tati says Trish lying. He didn't bash her not one time. Not from my memory either. Somebody's mama says Trish is a raggedy, but not a raggedy bully. And you can't tell me otherwise. Marquez only has you said a little lying problem. Trish is nasty word. Not a little lying problem. Chef Dardan says Trish and Ken both are bullies. And Chef, I don't mind you using these because I need somebody else's perspective on these DMs. Because a part of me feels like a part of it is true. And the next side of me feels like, I don't know, because he didn't bash you. And then the other part of me feels like she essentially confirms what um Chit Chat QT had already reported, that she told this, fan of the show that was in her DMs prior, that they all were just coming on to get to the bag. I mean, you word it differently, but it's literally the same thing. Let me read. Guys, y'all don't believe anything Trish says. Irene says, I don't believe nothing she says. Tati says she's mad. I don't know why she thought her and Ken would come on social media and talk down on them and not, well, talk down on Marquez and not say anything. Right. I think he does have a right to respond to both Trish's two interviews, plus things they're saying about him on the show, and then Ken's interview. I think he does have a right to respond to those things. And I think he did so in a very eloquent way. He might not have stayed on task, meaning he didn't stick to what the agreement was, but I don't think they stuck to the agreement either. Because if the plan was to stick to the basics, or I guess what she's saying is that he should stick to the basics, but they could say everything else. Because even in these messages, she doesn't say the plan was that we were going to stick to the basics. She said she told him to stick to the basics for his protection, not for hers, for his protection. So again, y'all, I don't know what's true or not. Um, who? Where's the next comment? Child, y'all are not feeling Trish at all. Irene says a woman with any morals would not come on national TV with all that effed up baggage Trish is carrying. Okay. Y'all are not feeling Trish. Now Trish is not gonna respond to my second messy DM. Because y'all are giving it to her. Chef says name calling. Right. I don't recall him calling anybody names. She was the one in their Instagram feud that was calling him all kinds of fruity and gay and all of this. So I don't know where the name calling came in on his part. I could have missed something, but from what everybody is saying in the chat, we didn't miss it. So I don't know what Trish was saying there. She's lying as usual. They are still lying about when they got together. And I think they're going to forever lie about that. It's easier. Chef Don then says, understand this one thing. She never said he lied, though. Chef, as I said, I asked a follow-up question. You know what? Let me read y'all my follow-up question, because at this point, the way y'all carrying on, if Trish sees um if Trish sees this video, she not gonna respond to me. She probably gonna block me. So I after she sent me this DM, I responded. Thanks for your response. Let me state, I do feel, because I like to tell people when I DM these people, I like to tell them where I stand. Okay. So I said, thanks for the response. Let me state, I do feel like Marquez's interview was compelling, especially his breakdown regarding the dance competition in Florida. I felt like it made sense that you may have given him the wrong time because no other explanation outside of, and I put in quotes, he didn't care to be on time makes sense. Do you mind commenting on that? And then I said, and also, do you feel bad about some of the homophobic names you used when you both were feuding on IG? And do you regret posting that picture of Ken and your daughter? And I am asking these questions on the record, but if you answer off the record, I will respect that. So that was my messy follow up question, y'all. So let's see if she responds, because that would be interesting. Because as Chef says, she didn't say that Marquez lied. She only says she wanted him to stay on course by just sticking to the basics. Their separation was messy and they hadn't gotten a divorce yet. That's all she wanted Marquez to talk about. Hi, Melanin Beauty. How are you? Um, y'all are not feeling church. Everybody's like lies, lies, lies. ADR, non factors. I don't care about this adultery story. It's their kids that will read and see their nasty, peaches on this show. Not Jaws, ADR. Knows the truth ain't in her. Just admit it's scripted. Child, y'all are not feeling Trish at all. Seems like everybody is T Marquez in here. Um, AT says, exactly, nor has she ever said Marquez cheated on her. Well, she's not saying he cheated or anything like that, but she's saying that the separation was difficult and that, you know, what she wanted them to do was to, well, she says, um, you can't come back 4 years later with tears talking about past ish. No, let's keep moving how you was moving in the beginning that I kept secret. That's what she says. She says he should continue moving the way he was moving in the beginning that she kept secret and that she continues to keep secret. So I want to know what that secret is. And she said, because if she brings the past to social media, it's going to be Wild Wild West. She didn't say Wild Wild West, but she said social media is going to go wild if she really brings the past. Vivian Allen says Stormy is the one who concocted this storyline for them and Martell to get some money and to humiliate Mel, and it backfired. And I think it backfired because Marquez is around. I think the story that they were going to present is her previous marriage was rough. She met this king in Ken. He's helping to fix her broken wounds. And Marquez is a deadbeat. I think that was supposed to be the storyline. And Marquez threw a wrench in that. He talked about how he still loved. Right? That's what I saw too. Like when they were going back and forth, he said, she was his best friend. And it's hard to. I'm with y'all. But I still want that follow-up answer. Irene. Now she should have stayed mumbling because she lies too much. God, y'all are giving it to Trish. Trish and Ken would have cleaned up their story before coming to the show. In my opinion, Ken is messy and Trish is all for it. Marquez responded to Ken's interview, in my opinion. And that's what I felt too. I felt like his response was because of what Ken said in the interview, especially Ken bringing up his daughter. I think even if Marquez was going to be a team player and stick to the basics, as Trish says, if Ken didn't bring up that Florida thing with his daughter, I feel like Marquez would have just kept talking about the divorce and nothing else. The Alley Cat says, That's why Stormy's sitting there all quiet because all hell is going to break loose because of her Trish BS, and it will backfire. There is no telling what Trish is. Listen, I don't know if y'all recall that dinner scene, right? The group dinner scene when Mel invited them to the girls' trip. If y'all recall that scene and how Stormy was sitting next to Trish, and Stormy looked very, in my opinion, nervous when Trish and Ken were trying to break down this timeline of their relationship. Stormy had this weird look on her face. She was biting on her fingernails. If y'all watch these body and behavior analysis videos on YouTube, then you would know that's a nervous tick for some people. But in that moment, the way Stormy was behaving, if you read her facial expression, you saw her biting on them blue nails, you'd have to agree with me that she was a little bit nervous for Trish. I think she was nervous for Trish because Trish didn't sound honest when they were breaking down how her and Ken's relationship came about. Everybody says she's lying. Chef says, girl, divorce him. Because she didn't need Marquez to get a divorce. She could have filed them papers. Did she consider bringing another man in the house before she divorced would make things messy? Good question. I question her morals and her motherhood. That picture of her daughter with Ken is a darn no-no. Marquez is not he's not. I don't think that he is perfect. He's father of the year. I don't think that he was being 100% truthful in that Dr. Heavenly interview. But also, Ken and Trish aren't being 100% truthful either. I cannot. I cannot with you, ADR. Give me your phone. Give me your phone, ADR. Give me your phone. Yes. Safe travels to work, ADR. Oh my God. Good morning, Miss Linda Gamble. Virtual hugs. Oh my God. Chef says, I also think that whatever happened at Mimosas with Melody, he said he was set up, which tells me it had something to do with Ken and Trish being there. All right, y'all. I'm gonna give y'all a little tee-hee-hee from Mimosas with Melody, okay? So during the event, I don't know if it was while we were eating or something, Marquez got up from his table and he went over to the table that had Trish, Ken, and the Scotts. And when he went over there, he gave Ken, a handshake, a little dap up or whatever. Ken stood up, greeted him. But Trish, she had her head down the whole time. She did not look up at that man. I don't even know if she said hello to him. So I want to see how that's going to play out for the show if it airs. But that happened. I observed that. I was watching everybody. Y'all know I like to stay in the cut and observe. She looks like she needed the money. No, everybody needs to put their phone down and give them to me because y'all are cutting up, okay? Yes, exactly, Chef. She was very nervous. I watched that scene so many times of Stormy just sitting there. She was quiet. She wasn't saying anything. She couldn't help Trish because Stormy knows the story. So she couldn't help Trish. She knew that Trish was lying and she had her finger in her mouth, child, the whole time. She was so nervous. I think she wanted to tap Trish and say, "Girl, shut up." But she couldn't do it in the scene. So all she could do was just sit there and watch Trish literally dig a hole for herself, in my opinion. Oh my God. Y'all, I gotta hop off of here because I'm about to be late for work. Stormy probably thought she was gonna blurt out something against Melody as they good. You know what? That could have been it too. But Stormy didn't want her to say. I don't think I think you're right. I think Stormy probably felt like Trish would have. I don't think Trish would have brought up the Martell situation. Maybe Stormy was worried that maybe Marsau would have, because I'm sure Marsau knows, right? Because the guys went to the gym together and they talked about how Trish went over to Martell's house. So I think that with all the questions that were being thrown out there, the timeline and Marsau, just digging his feet in the ground and standing on business and saying what year. Stormy probably felt like, oh my God, Marsau might say, and what year did you go to Martell's house? So maybe that was a part of why she was nervous. That was probably that was probably why she was nervous. Ken is not, you know what? ADR, you said you were driving to work. Ken is not Jaw's fiance. Ken is Jaw. I am done. I am done. I'm not reading that, ADR. I'm not reading that. Hi, Miss Black Titan. Hi, Miss Black Titanic. It's the first time I've seen you in the yard. Welcome, ma'am. And virtual hugs to you too. Chef Donna says, because I asked, was he at their table? Oh, shoot. So I just really spilled. So I'm not going to even repeat it. If you caught it, you caught it. If you didn't, I'm sorry. Oh my God. Um, it's coming. Shanita will be there. Remember, Mel walks away. Oh, yeah, I know it's coming, but I think Stormy felt like it was going to come at that dinner table. Mm. So maybe that was the setup he thought. He probably thought he was going to be at their table and then he wasn't. I don't know. But I can't wait to see what this setup is. All right, y'all, I gotta go. But thank y'all so much for joining me in the yard and chatting with me. Thank y'all for just being here. I appreciate it. I haven't been live in a couple of days. Sometimes YouTube gets exhausting. So my hat goes off to all the content creators who love doing this because child, it is another 9 to 5. And Canva, I was doing my videos in Canva this morning and it wasn't working. I was like, Jesus. But thank you all for tuning in. And Chef, I'm gonna be over there later when you go live this morning. And I want you to break down these DMs from Trish for me because sometimes we see things differently. And I know you definitely see this different from me. So I'll be over there, okay? All right, y'all. See ya later. Thank you for joining me. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Twitter at How I See It, and on TikTok at How I See It TV. Until next time, walk good, everybody. Bye.